Hello, great to see you here. In this training session, I'm going to share with you some of the personal, life-changing strategies that I've learned in my 36 years of training in the meditative arts. And even if you decide not to become part of the program, in this video, you're going to learn some techniques and strategies that will provide you with endless benefits for years to come. Here's what you're going to learn. How to start a personalized meditation practice using Tai Chi, Qigong, Yichuan, and other meditation methods. Body awareness conditioning, a breathing exercise to improve your awareness, reduce stress, and lower your blood pressure in just a few minutes. A daily ritual meditation, understanding what the 3 different daily modes of practice are, and how to incorporate the concept of yielding into everything you do. And I've seen so many benefits from the practice, not only through myself, also through many of the students that I've had through the years. With any kind of meditative practice, whether it's Tai Chi, Qigong, Bagua, Xingyi, sitting meditation, yoga, the most important part of the training is learning how to get to a high level of feeling within the practice. And we do this by incorporating ritual, active, and philosophical practices. And once we can learn to use this as kind of a way that we live our lives rather than a hobby that we do once in a while, this is where all the true benefits lie. If you can incorporate this into your day-to-day activities, you will see so many benefits from the practice that it'll be well worth the time invested in the practice. If this sounds like something you'd like to take on and a direction that you'd like to follow, click the link below and learn more about what we have going on. All right, next we're going to look at a body conditioning series. And anytime we do any of our meditative practices, it's good to get the body moving a little bit, notice where you may have any muscular tension and try to let go of that. Notice how the joints are feeling. And so that's why we're doing this. And in this set, normally it would be a longer duration. However, for this video, I'm just going to do a few different repetitions on each one of the exercises, but you can memorize the series and then maybe practice 2 or 3 minutes in each one of these later as you're doing it on your own. So we start with a shaking exercise where we're just moving up and down, thinking about trying to let go of all of the muscular tension in the body. And it's almost as if you're shaking away the muscles and the tendons from the bones. So every time you bounce, you feel that vibration. And as you're shaking, use the breath, full, deep inhales and exhales. Shifting from one foot to the other, opening the chest bow, closing the chest bow, turning the shoulders left and right, and just kind of moving around to what feels comfortable for you. And again, we might do this for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we move on to the next one, which is a swinging exercise. And when we do this one, the knees are bent and relaxed, and we're just going to work back and forth here. And if you notice how on the last exercise we talked about letting the muscles be relaxed, when I come up, it's almost as if you're shaking here. Keep everything very soft. And again, you might do this for 90 seconds, 2 minutes, whichever is comfortable for you. Number 3, the next position, we can do in a deep, wider horse stance, or if you have any knee or hip issues, you can do in more of a narrow stance. When we do this, we're going to circle the arms around the body, and as you come down on one side, the arm that's on the back side of the body is going to swing all the way through, come back up and around, and then come up together. And again, if I was doing this in a wider stance, I could bend the knees and sit down. Other direction. And back to our hip width stance. Feet parallel and relaxed, and circle the hips. And you notice how we're just working through the body, checking in and seeing how we feel. Other direction. We move to the knees. Other direction. And as you're doing this one, if you have healthy knees and hips, you might really work and sit down low, or you might just do little small circles depending on your physical ability. The last one in this series, we're going to stand on the right leg and bend the knee. The left foot's going to step back about a half of a step. And now that standing leg is going to be rising and lowering. The other leg circling. We're thinking about the ankle, the knee, and the hip, trying to get as much rotation as you can with each circle. Other direction. And if you notice, my standing leg is moving up and down. It's not locked out. And other side. Other direction. And relax. So it's a very simple body conditioning set, and it's great to do prior to any kind of meditation that you're doing because it helps us bring our awareness into the body and be more present. Notice if there's any tension, try to work that out so it's not causing you distractions when we get into more of the meditative practice. I've heard so many people through the years tell me that they tried meditation or they tried Tai Chi and it just didn't work for them. Maybe they weren't able to quiet their minds or whatever the reason was. And while I appreciate the effort, the reason why it didn't work for them is because they were either misguided on their approach or didn't fully understand what direction would be the best approach for them. And so what is different about this program is that it teaches you how to build a personalized meditation program around your lifestyle to accomplish the things that you want to achieve out of the practice. There's so many different directions in meditation. With this, it helps you understand why we do some of these different practices so you can incorporate that into your lifestyle. I guarantee you, if you can just do 15 to 20 minutes a day and integrate some of these active and philosophical practices throughout the day, if you can keep up with that for at least 1 year, you'll see so many benefits of the practice, you'll do it for the rest of your life. If this sounds like something you'd like to take on and a direction that you'd like to follow, click the link below and learn more about what we have going on. Next, let's take a look at the breath. You may have heard that meditation is associated with mystical or unfounded beliefs, or that it doesn't work, or that you need years to see any of the benefits. This is not true. Try dedicating just 3 minutes to this breathing exercise, and you'll witness an immediate reduction in your blood pressure, allowing you to experience the results firsthand. Now we're going to look at a breathing strategy, and I'm going to show you a few different ways and options on how you can use this practice. So first is just to tap in with the breath. And so I want you to take one hand and place it over your belly, put the other hand on your chest. We call this normal abdominal breathing. When you inhale, focus and think about filling up the belly and then fill up the chest. And exhale, relax the chest, contract the belly, and sink into the feet. Do a few cycles of this and try to find that deep, relaxed rhythm. You could use this idea of the normal abdominal breathing in what we call a reset practice, where maybe you're standing in line at the grocery store, or you're sitting in your car at a red light. You could count out 6 or 10 full, deep, relaxed breaths. Or you could use this as a ritual practice in a sitting meditation or standing meditation posture, where you sit there and you work on the breathing exercises for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever is comfortable for you. And so there's different ways that we can apply this. And the idea with the reset is we want to incorporate some of these what we call reset meditations as often as we can throughout the day. And a very simple one is just coming back to the breath. The more that we can have that be part of our daily lives and in everything we do, the more we're going to reap the benefits of the practice. Now, I want to show you one more way that we can use this, because this is very valuable for learning how to bring down our blood pressure and learning how to reduce stress if we're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So go ahead and tap into that deep, full, relaxed breath again. Inhale, fill up the belly, fill up the chest. Exhale, relax and sink into the feet. And now we're going to add the movement of the arms. Inhale up. Shoulders stay soft, wrists are relaxed, fingers are relaxed. Exhale, settle. And as you exhale and settle, all of the muscles are relaxed, sinking into the feet. Inhale up. This time when you settle, focus on all of the organs inside the torso, sinking. The feet are feeling heavy. And if you were to do this exercise and put a blood pressure monitor on, in just 2 to 3 minutes, you would see your blood pressure start to fall and you'll feel more relaxed by doing this. So next time you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, tap into this breath, use that movement with the hands, and just see for yourself how fast you'll see the results from doing this practice. Breath work is an extremely important part of any meditative practice. And in fact, Qigong is often referred to as the science of the breath. There's hundreds of different breathing strategies. And because of this, we kind of broadly categorize them into yin methods and yang methods. Yin methods are often deeper, more holistic style of meditations, while yang methods are more aggressive. They build up the energy, they create creativity. There's lots of different reasons that we can use these different breathing methods. And so as we're building a practice for you, you will incorporate some of these different practices to help you get different outcomes. And in the Chinese philosophy, they call this balancing the Kan and Li. And we learn how to use the breath as a strategy to adjust the yin and yang expression of our body, of our mind, and also our emotions. So the breath is a very important part of the practice. This is part of the reason so many people use the meditative arts for different things. For example, did you know that when the Chicago Bulls won all of their championships with Michael Jordan, that their coach, Phil Jackson, used to have them practicing meditation and Tai Chi to help focus their awareness and be more in tune with what they were doing? Also, did you know that there's thousands of medical doctors around the world who prescribe meditation and Tai Chi to their patients to help with high blood pressure, arthritis, depression, stress, and much more? One of my longtime students, Bill, who started with me almost 30 years ago, has been practicing Tai Chi now for about 27, 28 years. And he came to me, he had a very high stress career. He was as stiff as a 2x4. He was taking high blood pressure medication. And he will tell you today that doing Tai Chi and Qigong was one of the best things he ever did. He's not taking his high blood pressure medication anymore. He's very relaxed. His whole physiology has changed since he's taken on this practice. And through the years, I've had over 24,000 students come through my academy, not to mention all the students that we've taught online. And I've heard hundreds of stories through the years how so many people have been positively influenced by this practice, which is why I want to share this with you here today. Next, we're going to look at the idea of yielding. And to me, yielding is one of the coolest concepts in all of the meditative and martial arts. In fact, I'm so passionate about that idea, I just finished writing a 75,000 word book on the topic called The Yielding Warrior by Jeff Patterson. You can check that out on Amazon if you're interested. Before we get into yielding, I want to go over everything that you're going to get when you join our program here at the Yielding Warrior Tai Chi and Qigong. Weekly lesson updates, open access to the membership area with new content being delivered every month, online support, a lifetime worth of study material, beginner, intermediate, and advanced level training, how to build a daily practice and integrate it into every part of your life, how to focus your practice to achieve different outcomes. You will learn and understand the philosophy behind the practice and ways to strategically integrate these lessons into everything you do. Our program will teach you how to increase your awareness and discover your full potential, and much more. If you are looking for a positive change, or dealing with stress or depression or high blood pressure, or just want to improve your athletic performance, then why wouldn't you give this program a try? Just click the link below and get started today. What is yielding? There are 3 different kinds of yielding: physical yielding, mental yielding, and emotional yielding. Physical yielding is the easiest one to understand. The idea is I push you, you push me. Whoever is the bigger, stronger person with the most leverage is going to push the other person over. But with yielding, instead of us seeing who the bigger meathead is, when you push me, I get out of the way of that force, and so now I can respond with less effort. So I don't have to butt heads with you and see if I'm bigger and stronger than you. Now, it's easy to understand how this could be beneficial in martial arts or maybe other kinds of athletics. But this is where it becomes very interesting, because in order to be good at physical yielding, a lot of things have to come into play. You have to be well rooted. The lower part of your body needs to be strong and flexible so you can change your central equilibrium without getting tight. The body has to be relaxed, the breath has to be calm, and the mind has to be present. It takes years and years to get to a high level of this, but when you do, this is where it becomes very interesting. Because now, not only are you increasing your awareness of your overall physical state, but you're also improving your awareness of your mental and your emotional state as well. And when you start seeing these things in more detail, now not only do you see this in yourself, but you also start seeing this in more detail in other people. So say, for example, I say something that unsettles you, and I pick up on it right from the start. It's a lot easier to adjust the conversation and keep us in a happy place, rather than me not paying attention and pretty soon I'm so far off track you want to knock me upside the head. Learning how to use this idea of yielding is what we call mental yielding. And we use this in conversations, we use it in relationships, we use it in strategy, we use it in business, in sales, in so many applications of how to apply this idea of mental yielding. Then we have emotional yielding. And emotional yielding is very much like mental yielding, but it's with your own interpersonal conflicts. We think about when something happens to us, often we'll respond and we'll go down this path. And we might get an hour, a day, a week down that road and realize maybe that wasn't the best choice. But with yielding, if we would have taken a step back and said, I can do this, maybe this is a better approach, a lot of times it'll save us a lot of heartache on the other side. I explain this to people often, and one of the common things that people will tell me is, oh yeah, I do that all the time. And you're right, everybody does this to some degree all the time. But it's kind of like if you or I were to walk into a crime scene with a detective who's been on the job for 30 years, I guarantee you he would see things about that scene, about the progression, about the timeline, that you and I would have no idea on how to read. The meditative arts is the same thing. Everybody experiences some of those things, but it teaches us how to have that in-depth experience and see things at a higher level. It's kind of like in athletics. You take any high-level coach, and it doesn't matter what sport you're talking about. The coach will tell you that it's easy to get a dedicated athlete to 85% of their potential, but to get them to 90%, 95%, 97%, now we're talking about the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants, who almost seem a little bit magical. Well, the meditative arts help us get to that 95, that 97%. I believe that in order to get to a high level of internal awareness, that it's impossible to do without the meditative arts. If this is interesting to you, please click the link below and check out our program. Again, I guarantee if you stick with the practice and you incorporate some of these ritual practices and these active practices and stay with it for at least 1 year, you'll be doing it for the rest of your life. Thank you so much for listening.